Oh, there you are. I was beginning to worry about you.
Oh, we're back, Mr. Fletcher, safe and sound.
Good.
You can take Burns back to her cell now, and her punishment will be recorded as from this morning.
Right.
Oh, haven't I gone through enough already?
You don't seem to understand, Doreen. You have abused privileges, which I consider to be very serious indeed, so I've decided to withdraw your weekly phone call. And in view of your misuse of mail privileges, causing embarrassment and inconvenience to members of the public, not to mention members of my staff, censorship of all mail will be reintroduced forthwith.
Mrs. Davidson, you can't. Don't you know what they'll do to me?
You should have thought of that before. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher.
Come on, Burns.
Oh, dear.
Mrs. Morris, I can accept that these two might be a little late getting back due to their involvement with Elizabeth, but I would have thought you could keep an appointment.
Matron, it's only 4:10.
Which is not 4 o'clock, is it? I don't know how you run your office, Mrs. Morris, but we run this home according to a schedule. Now, that schedule has been disrupted, and Elizabeth is late for her bath.
Oh, Elizabeth's already had a bath and a full change, matron.
Well, that was an absolute waste of time on your part, Miss Latham.
Come on, I'll drive you two home. Chrissy?
What did she mean? It was a waste of time.
Pardon?
Me, bathing and changing Elizabeth. Why would that be a waste of time?
She's upset because we were late.
No. No, she's upset because I've screwed up her schedule. She's going to take it out on my baby.
Chrissy, stop it. She was upset because we were late, and that's all.
You sure, Mrs. Morris?
Of course I'm sure.
Well, she won't have to worry. Elizabeth won't be back late next time. She won't be back late next time.
Uh-oh. Fancy a hand?
I suppose.
Well, how'd it go?
What?
What she says. She gets a day out of this dump with a bloke and she has the cheek to say what?
You didn't think I was going to keep it a secret in here, did you?
What's the harm of me knowing anyway? Well, come on, don't keep us in suspense. What happened?
Not much.
He was a man, wasn't he?
Tried to pull a Swifty on me.
You mean he put the hard word on you with Davo standing by?
No, but the way he wrote to me, I thought he was about 30. Well, you should have seen him. I reckon he was 50 if he was a day.
Well, you lied to him too, honey.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter anymore because I told him I never want to see him again.
God, a bloke's a bloke, and if it meant getting Arvo out, my
Yeah,
God,
geez, do you
been...
reckon I'm stupid or something? Do you reckon the screws are going to let me out of here on a blind date whenever I ask for it?
Then why'd you make a date with him in the first place?
Just a joke. Of course, Dave, I had to take it seriously. Tricked you all.
Oh. Yeah, except Davo. Pity she made you go through with it and meet the bloke.
Yeah, that was supposed to show me I can't get away with anything.
God, I wish every time I did something wrong, all I got was an Arvo out. Oh, you got off real light.
You reckon?
You didn't get off lightly, did you, Don?
Oh, OK. Come on, tell us the worst.
I lost my phone privileges.
Oh.
That's not bad.
Nah, who've I got to phone anyway?
Oh, cheer up, love. It could have been a lot worse.
You want a hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't such a bad guy, was he?
He lied to me. Tried to make out he was something he wasn't.
Well, honey, you lied to him, too. I mean, how do you think he felt when he found out that you were in prison?
He reckoned he could understand why I was so lonely.
Yeah, you see? He doesn't sound like such a bad bloke.
Yeah. Still conned me, though. I felt a real dad when I saw this real old guy who was old enough to be my father.
Now, what's so terrible about that? Honey, he was probably lonely, too.
Yeah. And when I got over the first shock, well, I started to think,
What, that you liked him in spite of everything, huh?
Oh, not as a boyfriend
I
or
know
anything.
that, I know that.
But he was really nice and kind to me, and not because he wanted anything out of me, you know?
Listen, honey, if he was so nice, why don't you keep writing to him?
No. No. And I told him. I never want to hear from him again.
Okay. Then you'd better tear up the letters, huh?
It's a waste of energy.
Oh, Mrs. Morris, can I have a moment of your time?
Of course, Mr. Muirhead.
No, thanks. The Child Welfare Department has asked me for a report regarding Latham and O'Brien having permanent custody of their daughter.
What's the department's attitude?
Well, we'd like to know your opinion first. From Latham's record, she sounds like a pretty rough customer.
Oh, I think that's all in the past. Once she had something else to think about apart from herself, she really made an effort to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's practically a reformed character.
Is that likely to continue?
Well, I can't guarantee it. But her attitude towards the baby is a pretty good indication. I'm certain she wouldn't do anything to jeopardize her safety.
I see. What about the de facto?
Mick? Well, given Chrissy's background, he came as a pleasant surprise.
Yes, well, he's still an ex-criminal. We have to consider whether he's likely to stick around, support the child, that sort of thing.
Well, they are engaged, and he has a pretty well-paid job as a carpenter. And he's done up that flat they're living in beautifully.
Would you be prepared to put that in a report to the Child Welfare Department?
Well, certainly. What sort of a show do you think Chrissy's got of getting full custody?
Well, of course, I can't make any promises, but if she and O'Brien live up to your opinion of them, I'd say they stand a better than average chance.
Rubbish.
Well, that's one way to start the day.
It's disgusting.
Why subscribe then?
It was sent to Dobbs.
What?
That's right.
Well, you know that ruling's been relaxed.
If you've got any queries, I suggest you speak to the governor. From now on, the mail is censored.
Why?
Do you really need to ask? If this is an example of what's been coming into the prison, it's high time that censorship was reintroduced.
Oh, here comes the postie.
Expecting something, Dobbs?
She gets them nature study magazines. You ought to have got one today.
You disgust me. I've always thought you lot were animals, but now you've proved it. Smith?
Who's it from?
Prison Reform Group.
Oh, really? And how do you know that?
Kent, I'm sure you'll enjoy that.
This has been censored.
So's this.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Mrs. Davidson has changed her mind.
Why?
I'm sure Burns will be able to explain.
Yeah?
What does she mean by that?
I don't know.
I told me old man he didn't have to worry.
Never mind about him. What was Vera talking about?
Yeah, what's all this about, Doreen?
I told you I don't know.
Oh, no, you don't.
Well, it was because of those letters I wrote. Now Davo reckons everything's got to be censored.
You help.
Look, what we want to know is why you got copped.
None of your business.
It's everyone's business if we all get lumbered.
Yeah, so why?
Now, come on, tell him, Doreen.
It's because I wrote to this guy.
What guy? Come on, Dor, you gotta face it.
From the personal column in Verity.
Not the Lonely Hearts Club.
Lay off, Mouse.
I can't blame her, really. Has to be the only way
I
she'd get
said
a
to
flight.
lay off.
Don't look at me. She deserves all she gets. First of all, the letters, then that stunt with the telephone. She's got 'em bugging things up good and properly.
And we suffer.
Dear Lonely Hearts, I'm a good girl, but I'm too shy to make any friends. Please send me a man who will go on... Stop it!
Hey, hey, steady on. What's the matter?
I want to be transferred.
Where to?
Cleaning duties, anything.
What's the reason this time, Burns? Well, come on, unless you've got a good reason, I'm afraid the answer's no. All right, then, get back to work. Come on, get moving with those sheets, all of you. Come on, move it.
At least she didn't lag.
I'd like to meet a man. Signed, Dumbo Doreen.
Okay, but why punish all of them because of what Doreen did?
It may appear to be rather harsh, but the women must be made to realize they cannot abuse privileges. For that reason, I had to make an example of Burns.
Well, as you say, it's rather harsh.
There is a lot more at stake than you seem to realize, David. The conjugal visiting scheme was jeopardized because one woman overstepped the mark.
In spite of which, it's still going ahead.
Quite. But if there is any more abuse of privileges, the department may think again. I am prepared to review the censorship situation at a later date. In the meantime, I suggest you consider what the department is prepared to do for the women if they cooperate.
You're referring to the full-time study scheme?
Yes, it's an excellent idea, and I'm just as anxious to introduce it as you are, and I have the department's backing.
Good. When will we be able to start on the Braille machine?
Well, there's a classification meeting tomorrow. If the staff approves the idea, then...
If? You're being a bit pessimistic, aren't you?
Well, let's wait until tomorrow, shall we?
Meg,
Hello, David.
what brings you back here?
Oh, parole application from one of the women in D block. I want to discuss it with Mrs. Davidson.
Any chance of you being here tomorrow for the Class A meeting?
Well, I'm pretty busy, but if it's something important...
Well, I've set up this program for B. Smith to learn Braille typing, full-time.
Oh, sounds a great idea. Well, what's the problem?
Well, Mrs. Davidson's 100% for it, but she wants the staff to approve it first.
Yes, well, I can't see Vera welcoming the idea. However, the rest of the staff should agree.
Yes, well, that's what I think. But just in case, the more votes I get for it, the better.
You can count on mine.
Thanks. I'll see you there.
Come in. Oh, Meg, sit down. Would you like some tea?
No, thanks.
How did you get on with supervising Chrissy and her baby?
Oh, very well. Although, in my opinion, she doesn't need it. She's absolutely devoted to that baby. And for that reason, I think she'll stay out of trouble.
Is there any progress with her custody case?
No. That's department business.
You're hopeful, though.
Yes, I am. Although the department isn't making any promises. However, Mr. Muirhead seems to think that my report could swing it.
Oh, you think Chrissy could have full custody then?
Hello, V.
G'day.
Thanks, Officer Powell.
So, what's the latest?
The Blind Institute's delighted. They'll be sending a machine out within a week.
Oh, ta-ra.
Don't tell me you've cooled off on the idea.
No, not me. What does the governor say?
She's for it 100%.
The same as she was for the no censorship of mail?
Now, if you knew the facts
Oh,
about...
I know all the facts, all right. Doreen was a bloody idiot, but why should the rest of us have to suffer?
Look, B, it's all give and take. You and the women show that you can cooperate and you'll get the goods.
Yeah, as soon as we get them, they take them away again, just like the no censorship.
You've got to play the game, B. You can't beat the system. Play the game and you'll get what you want. And this Braille machine's a good example. You're going to have to work on it 5 days a week to get anywhere, which means that you won't be working in the laundry.
So?
Well, what I'm saying is that you'll be losing your laundry wages. You're going to have to exist on the basic allowance.
That's okay. Never was a big spender anyway. I just give up fags again, I suppose.
Then you're prepared to go ahead with the scheme.
Yeah, you know what they say. A change is as good as a dirty weekend.
Yes, okay. One last thing to take into account. The main argument that the officers will have against the scheme is that the laundry won't work without you.
Oh, nice to know you're needed.
So you're going to have to convince the other women to make sure that the laundry works, that the output is up to scratch.
Otherwise, I won't be allowed to study full-time, huh?
No, that's about the size of it. Don't give the screws any ammunition against you.
Yeah, you want to be careful. You're beginning to sound like us.
Come on, Dor, you're just like a wet weed.
Give the girl a break, Lizzie. She's in
Oh,
love.
dear Harlow. I'm a 5'2", blue-eyed blonde, but I'm
I have
starving.
warned you. Lay off. Yeah, leave her alone. It's not her fault.
No? Why not?
Well, she can't help it. She gets a bit silly sometimes. It's a nature.
She would have been all right.
Hey, you not working to regulations or something?
What?
Well, 6 sheets in an hour is not much. You have to do better than that.
Why?
As of next week, you were going to double your output.
What? Double?
That's right.
God, what's got into you, B?
Mr. Andrews wants me to do full-time study, but the screws reckon the laundry won't run without me. So I'm afraid you're going to have to do your work as well as mine to make it look as if I'm not needed.
Oh, yeah. You loll around like Lady Muck and we slave our guts out for nothing.
Look, I know it sounds a bit one-sided.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Do you want to spend the rest of your time in here folding sheets?
No, of course I don't, but
Okay, if this project works for me, it'll snowball. Sooner or later, you'll all be allowed to do full-time study if you want it.
Now, Bee's right. Well, we got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah?
Agreed?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, okay.
try.
Okay, what we're going to do is stockpile, work our guts out, show the screws what we really can do. That way they won't have a leg to stand on.
Oh, yeah, that'll bugger 'em. Come on, let's do it. Next thing you know, we'll all be going to uni like Karen.
Oh, no go jumping the gun. We've got a lot of hard yakka in front of us yet.
Well, it better work out for everyone, that's all I can say.
Oh, it will. Anyway, it'll give us a chance to get our teeth into something other than Vera.
How are we gonna miss that?
Oh, I don't know. Just think about it. I'll be working for Vera in a way. Well,
How do you mean?
I'll be typing up books for her boyfriend. He'd have to be blind, wouldn't he?
The bell went 5 minutes ago, and it's taken you that long to get here.
We've been busy. Hey, you know, Vera, you're looking a bit peaky.
Pardon?
I suppose the guide dog barking all night keeps you awake. We've cooked up this little scheme with you in mind, actually.
I'm warning you, Smith.
I'm going to be learning Braille typing.
You're what?
Yeah. Machine arrives next week. Just think, me, a full-time student with my own personal instructor.
Where did you hear that?
It's all been signed, sealed, and delivered by Mr. David Andrews.
Yeah, that's funny. Didn't you hear about it?
Doesn't look like she did.
There's none so blind as them who will not see.
Hey, where's Doreen?
Oh, who cares?
Oh, come on, honey.
Oh, Mouse and Hazel, I can't stand it. They're never gonna let up. They're never gonna let me forget it.
Come on now, darling. I reckon you were just a bit close to the bone, that's all.
What?
Well, you know all that stuff about the Hearts and Flowers Lonely Hearts Club? Well, they were just lonely too, you see. At least you were honest enough to admit it.
You reckon?
Of course I do. I mean, heck, we were all lonely in here. We'd have to be, wouldn't we?
Yeah, but what about me and Lizzie? I know they hate me for having censorship brought back, and they don't say anything, but I reckon I deserve it.
Now, you listen to me. It's just something you're just gonna have to put up with for the moment, that's all.
Yeah, but it's worse than the others laughing at me, and I never did it on purpose.
I know that, honey.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any difference to me.
Now, look, you know yourself that they were really desperate to get that censorship thing back, right? Well, it could have been anybody that copped it. I mean, look at Angie. She had all that pornographic stuff brought in here. What if they'd caught her? They would have hit the roof. She would have taken the blame then.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry for what I've done, but Bea and Lizzie, they...
Listen, stop it. I'll talk to Bea and Lizzie. I'll make them understand. You'll see. Come on.
Good heavens, what's the matter with you? Someone gone over the wall.
Do you know anything about a Braille machine?
What?
According to Smith, she's going to learn Braille typing full-time.
You're kidding.
Apparently, it's one of Mr. Andrews' bright ideas. He's getting in a machine and an instructor to teach Smith.
Well, who's going to supervise them? We're short-staffed as it is. I'm surprised Mrs. Davidson didn't consult us about it.
Yes, what's the use of having classification meetings if we don't have any say in these matters?
We can have a say in the matter. Don't worry about that.
How?
Well, I'm union rep. It's my duty to inform other officers of anything that affects their working conditions.
It should be very interesting to hear their reaction.
Hmm.
Ladies?
Hey, Bea, wait. What's up? Oh, it's about Doreen.
What about her?
Well, I think she's taken all this pretty hard, and I don't think it's fair.
No, she deserves it.
Now, come on. She did it because she was lonely. You're rubbing her face in it all the time.
I'm not exactly enjoying it, you know.
It's not all her fault, Bea.
That's right. It could have been any one of us. The screws were just waiting for a chance to come down on us like a ton of brick, and you know it.
Well, maybe, but she was
Oh,
responsible
come
for the
on,
censorship.
Bea. Give the kid a go. She's in there crying her little eyes out. She doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, I reckon she's learned her lesson by now,
No,
love.
all right, Lizzie. One of you on my back at a time is quite enough. Come on, Doreen. You can come out now. Now, you deserve, don't you? Good smack on the bum.
Hey, what are you going to do about them others? Hazel and Mouse. They're making her life a proper misery.
Yeah, well, they won't after I talk to them.
You silly little drongo.
Come on.
More work for you, I'm afraid. Your allotment of parole cases.
Thanks. Any developments on Chrissy Latham?
Oh, yes.
Bad news, is it?
Well, the department's not entirely convinced that Latham and O'Brien have proved themselves responsible for full custody of the baby.
Oh, well, I suppose they had their reasons.
Yes, but as a result of your report, they've made some allowances.
What?
Well, they're to be granted unsupervised custody of the child 1 day a week.
Oh, well, that's something.
Yes, it is. So you won't have to give up your own time in order to chaperone.
Chrissy's going to be terribly disappointed she's not going to get full custody. But I suppose 1 day a week's better than nothing.
There's your coffee, love.
Oh, Tar. Oh, Mick, look. Don't you think she'd look lovely in that? I saw this other one. Oh, God, now look what I've done.
Don't worry about it, love. Doesn't matter.
Oh, I don't know. I just can't seem to do nothing right lately.
Chrissy, relax.
I'll relax, Mick, when we get her back. I mean, what's going on? You've got a good job with a good wage. This place is all right. Why won't they let us have her?
Give them time.
Yeah?
Chrissy? Meg Morris.
Oh, hello. Look, have you heard anything yet?
Oh, yes, it's unofficial. You'll be getting a letter from the department later. They've approved an unsupervised visit with Elizabeth once a week.
Yeah, but what about custody?
Well, I'm afraid they've knocked you back on that one, for the time being. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, it is disappointing, I know. But keep your fingers crossed. They're sure to review the situation in a couple of months.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting us know anyway. Ta-da.
Well,
1 day a bloody week.
it's better than nothing.
Oh, you reckon, do you? So they won't let me have her, will they? Well, we'll see about that, won't we?
Take it easy,
Oh,
Chrissy.
shut up. I'm going to get custody, Mick, whether they like it or not.
Look, if you do something stupid now, you'll blow the whole thing. The department's got good reasons for
Bugger
doing...
them! And bugger their reasons. I'm going to get her back, Mick. If I can't get her their way, I'm just going to have to get her my own way, ain't I?
Stokes, Cavelli. Oh, and Burns. Well, come on, take it. Don't waste my time.
What's the matter, Vera? Didn't anyone write you a letter?
She doesn't seem very interested. Still, when you have a pen pal like Mr. Hope... Oh, you are interested after all. But I suppose someone like you would be interested in an older man.
Oh, lay off.
None of your bloody business.
I wish it wasn't, but I have to read it. A man old enough to be her father writing rubbish like that. Oh, really, Burns? Don't let anything I say upset you.
Okay, put a sock in it.
Come on, honey. Don't you let what she says upset you.
I told him I never wanted to hear from him again.
Yeah, well, he's probably had time to think it over.
Yeah, well, I've thought about it all. I'm going to.
Now, you look. You both lied to each other. Now you both know where you stand. Why don't you write to him again? Start afresh.
No.
Well, what have you got to lose? It's nice to get letters.
Those bitches are still laughing at me, and the minute they find out that creep's still writing to me, it's going to
Why
get
do
worse.
you care what those idiots think?
I said no, and I mean no. Lastly, B. Smith. Mr. Andrews, would you outline your plan for the rest of the staff, please?
Yes, I've arranged for Bee to learn to use the Braille typewriter. The Blind Institute will supply an instructor, and her training will necessitate full-time study.
There are plenty of other prisoners. Why Smith?
Well, first of all, she's in for a long term. But more importantly, is to give Bee something useful to do. I mean, from the point of view of the staff, it'll mean less trouble for all of us.
Any comments?
Mr. Andrews, why weren't we consulted before B. Smith was told the project was going ahead?
Well, I'm sorry. I'd assumed you'd all be in favour. But if that's the only objection...
It most certainly isn't. Smith can't be spared from the laundry.
Well, what's more important, the laundry or rehabilitation?
You don't understand, do you? This is a prison, not a finishing school.
Yes, Miss Bennett does have a point there. The laundry is a very important industry to the prison. We can't allow the work to fall off, and it would if Smith wasn't here.
Yes, I wouldn't like to see the local hospitals taking their business elsewhere.
Well, does this mean you want the scheme scrapped?
Perhaps it would be more acceptable if Smith were allowed to work on the Braille scheme part-time, say 3 days a week.
Wouldn't work, Mrs. Davidson.
Now, you'd do anything to stop the scheme, wouldn't you?
Look, don't get me wrong. I think it's a very worthwhile project. What I'd suggest is 3 half-days a week. That way we can still keep the laundry going and give Smith her chance as well.
Well, let's put it to the vote, shall we? Those in favour of 3 half-days. Those against? Well, as I have the casting vote, the proposal is carried. Would you inform Smith of the decision, Mr. Andrews?
Well, congratulations, ladies. You certainly made your point.
Not enough point, in my opinion. Now, if I had my way,
You'd manacle them to their beds and feed them bread and water.
In principle, I think your idea is very good. But as union rep, I've got to consider the workload of my members.
Yes, you made your point.
Hello, Meg.
Hi. What's the matter?
The Braille project's been reduced from full-time study to 3 half-days a week.
Oh, I am sorry.
Yeah, if you'd have been there, the sweet voice of reason.
Well, I did try, but I got caught up. Perhaps if I could speak to Mrs. Davidson.
No, it wouldn't do any good. She supports the project, but she also wants to have the staff on side. Now, I can understand that. What I can't understand is their attitudes.
Well, at least Bee's got 3 half-days a week. Now, that's something.
No, I'm not so sure. I promised her full-time study. She'll see this as another coup on the part of the administration. She might not want to go on with the project at all.
You're not happy about it, are you?
Of course not. The scheme could be of great benefit all round, to Smith, to Wentworth in general.
Well, I agree with you. But what about the laundry?
Well, I'm sure Bryant would be capable of taking over the press and organising the work efficiently.
Well, how about the pecking order? According to the women, whoever operates the steam press is top dog. Now, if Bryant takes over, there could be faction fighting.
Well, Bryant's quite popular with the rest of the women, and as she has no ambition to be top dog, I don't see how we'd have any problems.
Yeah, it might work.
In which case, are you in favour of Smith doing full-time study?
Well, the laundry isn't the only problem. What about the supervision of Smith?
Well, do you think your rosters could accommodate supervision for 3 full days, then?
It'll be a tight squeeze, but I suppose we could manage.
Thank you. Would you inform the rest of the staff?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, well, that wasn't a bad morning's work.
Yeah, but it's just about half killed B. Still, it's worth it if it's going to help B.
Do you reckon the screws will buy?
I'll have to. We're miles ahead of schedule.
Bea, could I have a word with you, please?
Oh, any time.
Some men prefer older women.
You're not going to like this.
Try me.
Now, the class A meeting decided that you'd only be allowed 3 half-days a week for study.
You said I'd get 5 full days.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I counted on them siding with me. Now, you still prepared to go ahead with it?
Yeah, but hang on. You said it would also take me 3 full days to do the course properly.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry. I was expecting it. I told you, whatever the screws give you with one hand, they take away with the other. What's the point of trying to do anything useful around here? You're knackered before you start.
Looks like it, doesn't it? You think full-time study for one prisoner was asking for the moon?
Well, like I said, thanks for all you did.
It's precious little. Now, if we were on the outside...
Yeah.
Well, I know what to do.
What?
Call the laundry workers out on strike. Withhold labour. Force them to give you your rights.
I never thought I'd hear you say anything like that. I thought you were supposed to be on their side.
And so Mrs. Davidson and I have agreed to allow Smith 3 full days a week for study.
That's totally unreasonable. Even 3 half-days is too much.
The overtime situation is impossible as it is.
Mr. Andrews has overstepped the mark. He's meant to be a teacher, not a policy maker.
Look, Jim, soon the staff will be supervising these classes full-time and won't have time to do what they're supposed to.
The officers are here to enforce
It's
discipline.
all right, Vera. We know where you stand on this matter. But surely you agree that this is a worthwhile project. It's a community service, after all, helping the Blind Institute.
I do agree with it, in principle. But as union rep, I've got to take the members' feelings into consideration. And I've called a meeting this afternoon.
Oh, come on. That's a bit drastic, surely.
Not if they vote for the scheme.
Do you think there's any chance that they will?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Chrissy, I still reckon we should have waited till we got the news. You know, official.
Mrs. Morris said so, didn't she? That's official enough for me.
Well, well, it didn't take you long, did it? I've just had word from the department. I'm so glad to hear the news.
See? I told him it'd be all right to come now.
You know, young woman, you've made an extremely good impression on Mrs. Morris. She can't speak highly enough of you. Of both of you.
Yeah, well, if we're that good, why can't we have total custody? I mean, 1 day a week, it's just not long enough.
Chrissy worries about it. We don't want to make any trouble, but do you reckon we could see Elizabeth?
Oh, please. Just for a little while. And then we can take her out properly next week.
How would you like to have it for the whole afternoon?
You mean it?
I can see how anxious you are about Elizabeth. If you had it for the afternoon today, you could have it for another half day later in the week.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that'd be all right?
I can't see what difference it would make whether you saw her 2 half days or 1 full day. But I think we better keep it between ourselves.
Thanks, matron.
Good heavens, you've got me breaking the rules now. Come on.
Come on, Lizzie, get a wriggle on. I only got 1 pair of hands.
Well, you'd be able to use them if you put that fag out.
I haven't finished me smoko yet.
Well, I just cut it short.
You know, I reckon we ought to do the first thing Mr. Andrews said.
No, he's only joking when he said go on strike. After he'd cooled down, he reckoned the best thing we could do is work as hard as possible. That way the screws have no argument.
Probably a double cross.
No, he's as sour with the screws over the scheme as we are. He's got to be on our side.
But it could be a plot.
What sort of plot?
To make us work even harder.
Yeah, well, he said while we're working, he'd have a go at the screws about getting us extra study time. We'll soon find out if he's going to keep up his end of the bargain or not.
Come on, you thought that was the bell. Were you deaf or something?
Okay, girls. Down tools.
Where'd all this come from?
All a day's work, Mr. Fletcher.
Oh. Let's give him a picnic, eh? There's duck and panda and dog. And look, they're sitting in my shoes. What are they doing there, eh? And there's Bunny.
Maybe she'd like to see some real animals.
Eh?
Why don't we take her to the zoo?
No.
Oh, come on, Chrissy, it's a nice day outside.
No, not the zoo.
Well, why?
Because I've seen enough of bars to last a lifetime, that's why.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but we want to be like a normal family, don't we?
How do you mean?
Well, all normal families go to the zoo. Oh, come on, forget about the past.
Oh, right then.
Good on you. You want to go to the zoo, Dad?
Should we go to the zoo?
I reckon we should have asked Fletch could we work instead of coming out here. At least we would have got the laundry done.
Look, we only want to score a point against the screws, not work ourselves into the ground.
Yeah, Jude's right. Besides, Fletcher will smell a rat if we'd asked to work.
They'll smell a rat sooner or later. I reckon it's a commie plot.
Oh, dry up, Lizzie. You lot sniggering at. God, what's that?
Not dressed up as lamb, if you ask me.
Oh, no. What's wrong?
Who is that?
Peter.
God. Oh, shut up, you lot.
Told him I never wanted to see him again.
I can't say I blame you.
My name is Peter Hope. I've come to see Miss Burns.
Yes, right, Mr. Hope. You'd just like to go into the building and have to sign in for the visit?
Look, why don't you just tell Fletcher you don't want to see him before it's too late?
No. I'm going to give it to him once and for all. Otherwise, he's never going to stop pestering me. Do you want to sit down?
After you. Is he going to stand there all day?
An officer has to be present at all interviews, Mr. Hope. And no whispering, please.
I'm sorry. And how have you been keeping?
I only saw you a couple of days ago. Oh, all right. How about you?
Oh, good, good. Did you get my letters?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I asked you not to write to me again.
But what's the harm in it?
Well, I just don't want you to. I mean, I'm a crim. I'm going to be in here a long time.
Oh, that doesn't matter to me. I'd like to keep in touch. You know, you could tell me what you've been doing. And...
Well, you wouldn't want to hear boring junk like that.
Oh, it wouldn't be boring to me.
And I don't want to write anymore.
Listen, I know it doesn't sound like much at the moment, just getting letters, but if we keep on writing, we could really get to know each other when you're released.
I told you before that...
Please, we're both lonely.
Yes, I'm lonely, but I'm not desperate.
Doreen.
Didn't anyone ever tell you what a spaz you look pretending you're young? And who'd want to be friends with an old poser like you anyway?
What does the line say? It says, oh. Where are you going?
Come on, let's get out of here.
Why?
Because I said so, that's why. Can't you see? I don't want her seeing anything locked up in cages.
But she's having the time of her life.
Yeah, well, they're not, are they? Look at them, poor sods all locked up.
Oh, they've got plenty of room to roam about.
They're still not free, though, are they?
Well, you can't let them run loose, can you? Some of them aren't in cages.
Yeah, well, what about that tiger? Pacing up and down like it's going off its head. It's just like being back in the pound.
You're free now. Will you forget that stuff?
It just reminds me, OK? Come on, let's go.
No. She's having a good time. Come on. Let's go and see the giraffe. What does a giraffe say? Say quack, 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 quack.
Say
quack.
The 28th? Yes, that's fine. Who's dancing? Just a moment.
Excuse me, Mrs. Davidson. There's a union delegation here to see you.
Union? What for?
I think I'd better let them explain. Officer Powell?
I'd better call you back. Yes, Officer Powell, what is it?
I've just had a meeting with the officers. They're most unhappy about this Braille scheme.
For what reason?
The extra supervision, mainly. We're prison officers, not governesses.
I'm sure the officers wouldn't mind supervising the classes if there was enough staff to cover it.
But it is a very worthwhile project, worthy of a little sacrifice from all of us. Surely you think so?
Well, I do. But I'm afraid my personal opinion doesn't count. All of the officers have voted against compulsory overtime.
But we've only rostered 3 days a week. Yeah, sure, there'll be a little bit of overtime, but not much.
I am sorry they have voted against any supervising of classes.
Of course, if the education department assigned an additional teacher to Wentworth, the officers wouldn't need to supervise.
But that's impossible. It was hard enough to get one education officer, let alone 2.
I'm sure the union appreciates your difficulties, but the fact still remains. They will not supervise B. Smith, not even part-time. Now, if the project proceeds, the officers will strike. I'm sorry, but...
I see. I will inform Mr. Andrews of this decision immediately.
Hey, come on, Mick. Let's take her to see the elephants, eh? Would you like that, Elizabeth, eh?
Oh, we haven't got time, love. We've got to get her back to the home by 4 o'clock.
Oh, come on. It'll only take half an hour. It won't matter.
Can't you see? We've got to show we're okay. If we don't get her back by the time we said we would, they're going to think we're irresponsible or something.
It'll only take half an hour. Come on, the home won't mind.
We've got to obey the rules, love. You know I don't like it any more than you do. Well, think of Mrs. Morris.
What's she got to do with it? It's not her baby, is it?
No, but she's stuck her neck out. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have been able to take Elizabeth out by ourselves. Come on, love. We've got to be getting back.
No.
It's almost 4 o'clock. We promised.
I'm not taking her back.
For God's sake, Chrissy, if we don't... Well, where are you going?
I don't know. But I'm not taking her back in there. Not to that prison, I'm not. You can help us if you want to, Mick. But if you don't, we'll never see you again. I mean that.
Hello, Meg Morris.
Hello, Mrs. Morris. It's Matron Schwartz here from the baby's home.
Matron, what can I do for you?
It's about the Latham baby. I'm a little concerned at the moment. You see, although I haven't been officially notified yet, I've taken the liberty of allowing the parents to take Elizabeth out for 2 half-days a week.
That's wonderful, Matron. Mick and Chrissy will be pleased. I'm sure you're doing the right thing.
Well, I hope I have. I really am putting myself out on a limb.
I'm sure you've got nothing to worry about.
It's just that they were supposed to be back by 4 o'clock, and they haven't arrived yet.
Well, perhaps they got held up in the traffic or something. Oh, I wouldn't worry yet.
I've tried to ring their number, but there's no answer.
Well, I'm sure Chrissy wouldn't do anything silly.
I hope you're right, but I'm afraid I can only give them 2 hours' grace. If they haven't returned the child by then, I'll have no option but to notify the police.
Well, thanks for letting me know, Matron. Look, I'm sure they'll be back soon, but I'll try and contact them just in case something has gone wrong. I'll ring you if I hear anything. Also, if you do have to notify the police, could you ring me first? Thank you.
Okay, come on, get it off your chest.
The screws aren't prepared to supervise you. Not full-time, not part-time, not at all.
What does Mrs. Davidson say about that?
She's as unhappy about it as I am.
Oh, she's a gutless wonder. She's supposed to be the governor, isn't she? She told the screws to shape up and do as they're told for a change.
She could order them.
Like a
Now
mother
listen,
hen.
she could order them to supervise you, but then she'd have a strike on her hands.
Well, why do I need to be supervised? Why isn't the instructor enough?
The screws won't let an instructor in unless you're supervised. Well, it's called working the regulations. There's one possibility.
Yeah, what?
That I supervise you myself, but then the women would have to give up their classes.
Oh, that's lovely. We lose both ways.
Yes, I know it sounds pretty drastic, but if the women are in favour of the scheme with the idea of getting full-time study for everyone in the future, they might be prepared to make the sacrifice now. It's the only way I can see around the screws boycott.
I'm not so sure. I think you give up too easily.
You know, I could get a taste for this.
I thought you said your old ticker would give out.
Oh, it was all right once I got worked up to it.
I'm glad to hear it. You know, I think B's going to win this round. They're going to have to agree to full-time study for her.
Okay, girls, down tools.
What?
We're on strike.